Hello, my name is Tristan Espan, and I'm here to talk about my paper on Women Politics 435. I decided to write a paper on the most compelling political ambition and what was the most compelling theory. You can go from the gender gap, the gender stereotypes, anything, but I thought the most compelling stat in general and theory that not most people don't think about is the fact that women in general they have a hard time running because they don't want to. And the reason being that is that women are more likely to not run because they are scared or they feel like they need to prove themselves. And a lot of women have all the credentials. They've been running as an intern, they've been in lower legislative, they just don't feel the need or feel they're ready to run up for the high electives and they feel like they will not get money or anything like that. So through my paper, I wrote, which I thought was very, very good evidence, is the fact that since there is a push for women equality, even though there is a push, stats only show that 3 countries in the whole world have more than 50% women in their legislative, which I thought was insanely crazy. And that's done by women who take stats for all the legislative around the world. And the way that I prove the fact that women are not running because they're scared is when running they all have to go through everything. Will I get money? Will I be able to be seen as a leader versus if I'm a woman or like versus as I'm able to run against a man who's been there forever, has more supporters than us. And according to Richard Siegel, who's a professor at Rutgers, she wrote a book about how women are held to a different social standard. And throughout her book, she wrote that women, the only reason that they don't run is because they're held to a different social standing. They're seen as caretakers and not leaders. And when that comes to political office, a lot of people don't like to see that. Because if a woman's seen as a carer, we need someone that can lead us through wars and lead us through hard times, and women are not looked at that. And the reasoning behind that is because they've been always looked as lower, which is also wrong. And women still should be able, so when they run, they have to present themselves as a leader. They have to show themselves they're better than men, or they can do a better job. So that's the only thing that's a social class. That's another evidence that I prove that that's another reason why women don't run. My second evidence and second running is women are being left out in the whole like legislative in general. Even if they're in lower classes, they're being left out. They're not being heard because they're seen as a minority. And there's only 25.3% of women in high office, according to the Hill and according to Washington Post. So that makes them a minority. So their vote, even if they do vote all the same thing and the men vote all the other thing, they still get the lower vote because that's 75 versus 25. So they're seen as a minority. So it's running for higher office does not prove anything for them. They can't get their voice heard. They can't do anything. And I just think this is the most compelling theory. And thirdly is with women not being heard or women being left behind because of their social class or what people see them as, is that we're not getting enough women to run because they're scared, because they're like, well, why would I run if I'm seen as a minority? My vote's not going to count. And my solution to all this and everything is that the fact that women, and I think the legislators should look at this, is maybe have if we're looking for equal benefits, is maybe we need 50% women and 50% men, because then they'd be able to have two opinions, because women see things different than men in certain situations because they have, and men see different than women sometimes. So I mean, as more opinions make better laws and better changes. So I see the solution as maybe just having a 50-50 men and women in legislative. All right, thank you, and that's just what my paper is about, and hope you like it. Thank you.